Julie, Chrisley's resentencing judge, told her she doesn't get a pass from criminal conduct, despite having kids at home. The judge for Julie, Chrisley's resentencing, showed no leniency towards the former reality star. On Wednesday, September 25, the Northern District of Georgia judge sent a firm message to Chrisley Knows Best alum, 51, while resentencing her to the same 84 months of prison she previously received, deeming her original punishment was sufficient in the tax evasion and fraud case. During the hearing in downtown Atlanta, the judge said that she received letters from Julie's daughter Savannah Chrisley and many other members of the family, as well as a licensed therapist for Grayson, 18, and Chloe, 11. The judge explained that in her experience, most cases do involve people with young children at home, but many do not have the ability to provide the same resources, including access to therapy, as the Chrisleys do. I am concerned about the children, but with all due respect, you don't get a pass from criminal conduct because you're a parent, she said to Julie during the resentencing hearing. After noting that her sentence will not change, the judge resentenced the former reality star to 84 months. She also denied a request from Julie's attorney for her to self-report back to the jail in Kentucky after a 24-hour furlough. Before receiving her ruling, Julie, who appeared unrecognizable as she donned brown hair, addressed the court, including her eldest children Savannah and Chase Chrisley, through tears. She apologized for her prior actions and how the legal matter has impacted her family. I would like to say I've had years to think about what I've wanted to say, and I'm sorry for my actions and situations that led us to where we are today, Julie said before the court. I had 20 months in prison, but it has been much more leading up to the trial, and I apologize for my actions that led to where we are today. I have done everything I can do to get closer to my family. I've taken tests for new skills, such as driving a forklift and serving food in proper ways. This has been the most difficult part of my life. I can't ever repay my children for what they've had to go through, and for that, I am so sorry, she added. The Chrisley family matriarch was previously sentenced in November 2022 to 7 years, while her 55-year-old husband, Todd Chrisley, received a 12-year sentence for fraud and tax evasion. Despite their appeals process beginning that December, they still reported to prison in January 2023. After their April 2024 appeal hearing, a judge granted Julie's appeal, vacating her 7-year sentence in June due to insufficient evidence. Todd's sentence was upheld. We're pleased that the court agreed that Julie's sentence was improper, but we're obviously disappointed that it rejected Todd's appeal, the Chrisley's attorney Alex Little told PUPL in a statement. With this step behind us, we can now challenge the couple's convictions based on the illegal search that started the case, Little added. The family appreciates the continued support they've received throughout this process, and they're hopeful for more good news in the future. Jasper County, Mo. A woman pleaded guilty Monday morning in a Jasper County courtroom to 1 count of third-degree assault. Raven Gomes, 28, is scheduled to be sentenced on December 2. Gomes was originally charged with first-degree assault last October after a female Jasper police officer responded to a disturbance at Pete's convenience store. Upon arrival and making contact with Gomes and her alleged accomplice, Gomes started punching her in the face. The officer also stated that the man punched her several times and attempted to steal her patrol vehicle. While they did not succeed, Gomes says they got into another vehicle, ran over the officer's foot twice, and then fled the scene. Gomes and Brandon David, 48, were arrested a few days later near Moran, Kansas. David is charged with first-degree assault in Jasper County and is scheduled to be in court next Wednesday. In May, she pleaded no contest to the aggravated battery charge and was sentenced to probation. At that time, she was extradited back to Missouri for the assault charge. A man was charged Monday after claiming he had explosives in his car when he drove through a security checkpoint last week during former President Trump's rally in Michigan. The man, Stephen William Nada, pleaded not guilty to the 4 counts against him Monday, CNN reported. Prosecutors alleged in the complaint, obtained by CNN, that Nada made a false threat of terrorism, possessed bombs with unlawful intent, failed to stop for police who were in marked vehicles, and knowingly obstructed a police officer by disobeying commands. Julie Chrisley stood in the courtroom, her hands clasped together tightly as she tried to keep her composure. The room was charged with tension, filled with the muted buzz of whispers and the occasional shuffle of papers. Her attorney stood beside her, but no amount of legal preparation could soften the gravity of this moment. Julie had known this day was coming, but as she stood there awaiting the judge's words, reality weighed down on her chest like a leaden blanket. She was no stranger to public scrutiny. For years, she and her husband, Todd Chrisley, had built their lives around their reality TV empire, broadcasting their wealth, family, and opulent lifestyle to millions of viewers. But behind the cameras, behind the meticulously crafted facade, trouble had been brewing. Tax evasion, bank fraud, years of deception that had finally caught up to them. The glamour and glitz they flaunted had become tarnished, replaced by the harsh glare of the courtroom. Julie's thoughts drifted to her children. Grayson, still so young, just a teenager, and her granddaughter Chloe, whom she and Todd had been raising for years. These innocent faces flashed before her eyes as the silence of the room pressed in, broken only by the sound of the judge's voice as he began to speak. Mrs. Chrisley, the judge's tone was firm, unyielding. You stand before this court today not as a victim, but as someone who has actively participated in criminal conduct over a span of years. This was not a mistake or an accident. It was intentional, and it was sustained. Julie felt a lump form in her throat. She had hoped, even prayed, that the judge might take into account the fact that she was a mother, that her family needed her at home. Surely her role as a mother and caregiver would count for something, wouldn't it? But the look on the judge's face made it clear that those hopes were about to be dashed. I understand that you have children at home, the judge continued, his gaze unwavering. But having children does not absolve you from accountability. You don't get a pass from criminal conduct simply because you are a mother. In fact, as a parent, your responsibility is even greater, to be a role model, to set an example for your children of what is right and wrong. Each word hit Julie like a physical blow. Her breath caught in her chest, and she struggled to keep her composure. She had spent years raising her family, navigating the ups and downs of parenthood, while balancing the demands of their reality TV show. She had been there for her children, through their triumphs and tribulations. And now the idea of being separated from them felt like a punishment almost too great to bear. But the judge's words left no room for leniency. I want to be clear, he said, his voice steady but cold. Your family circumstances, while difficult, do not excuse your actions. You participated in a scheme to defraud the government and financial institutions. This was calculated, premeditated behavior, and the consequences must reflect the severity of your actions. Julie blinked back tears. She had heard these charges countless times, but hearing them spoken again in this sterile courtroom made it all the more real. This wasn't just a legal battle. This was her life unraveling before her eyes. The judge paused for a moment, flipping through some papers on his desk. You've argued that your absence would negatively impact your children, particularly Grayson and Chloe. And while I do not discount the hardship this will cause, I must weigh that against the need for justice and the message that must be sent. Julie's attorney had made the case that Grayson was still a minor, that Chloe's situation was unique given that they were her legal guardians. Surely, sending her to prison would devastate her children's lives. Julie had hoped that the judge might show mercy, that he might allow her to serve a lighter sentence or grant her some alternative form of punishment. But as she listened, she realized that mercy was not on the table today.